Mm, 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 mm. Hey, hey, happy Tuesday, guys. Happy Tuesday. Let's go ahead and let everybody in. Hope everyone's having a productive week so far. Thank you for joining us, as always. Nice to see some familiar faces. Sweet. Great. We're recording. Awesome. Awesome. So today we're going to be diving into CRMs. I think I got a really good presentation for you guys just so you can kind of get a better understanding of how CRMs can be used to its highest capabilities, no matter what CRM you have, right? I think a lot of us may be using in some way or another some form of a go high level platform, which is totally fine. So all of the things that I'll be going over today will be universal, right? As long as you have like a GHL sponsored CRM, everything that I'll be going over for you guys today uh, will be applicable no matter what CRM you guys have. So I'm kind of excited to dive into it. And I think one of the main reasons why I'm excited to dive into it is because, obviously CRM, any CRM, it plays a big part in how we operate our business. And I think a lot of the times people underutilize their CRMs because they do not understand the core fundamentals of what makes any CRM function. Make sense? So today I'm going to be going over some basic use cases, maybe some advanced use cases. But before we even get to that, I'm going to go ahead and start diving in on some fundamentals. So that way, when we transition over to the use cases, it all ties in together. Make sense? Cool. Before I get started, just so I can kind of get a feel of, what kind of things we can also kind of go over when we get into live examples. What are some of the, I guess, issues or some of the things that you currently want your CRM to do that it's currently not set up to do, or you don't know how to set up to do? And you can put it in the chat or you can unmute yourself and we could chat about that for about 5, 10 minutes. Any areas of improvement that you would like to see in your CRM, you can also mention that as well too. You can either put it in the chat or you can unmute yourself. Cynthia said having proper tags. Okay, great. Populating some initial comps. I do those manually at the moment. Got it. Customize specific property follow up for buyers. Okay, Brian. Sweet. What else? Anybody else? These are actually good stuff. Cycling different text group for initial text. Okay, Ty. Perfect. Good. This is great because all of this stuff that even though it's different is going to tie into all of the core fundamentals that we're going to be going over. Dexter said automation and workflows. That's going to be a very big one that we talk about as well too. Perfect. All right, great. So I got a very good idea. I just wanted to get some a live example use cases so that way when I start diving in, I can actually use the examples given in the chat. So I appreciate you guys. Cynthia said all of the aforementioned above, all of it. Okay, sweet. Ty said, "What are the new rules for texting now?" Ty, we're actually going to go over that tomorrow on Derby's call as well too. Perfect. All right, let me go ahead and make my screen bigger. A second. Sweet. So let's go ahead and dive into the fundamentals. And then if you guys have any questions on any of this, please feel free to just put it in the chat or unmute yourself because this is going to be very beneficial for everyone. Okay. All right. So the main thing that you want to start off with when it comes to utilizing your CRM is you want to think process and steps over automation because you cannot automate a bad process. Okay. So what you want to do is you want to think about when a lead gets into your CRM all the way up until the customer journey ends up getting sold, right? Now, in between, there's many different things that can happen, of course, right? But the way you want your CRM to set up is you want a clear indication or a clear process of how leads get into your CRM and then what qualifies a lead to, finish the customer journey or finish being the end of your process. Okay. Three big fundamentals for this to master any GHL CRM is you have to have clean data, right? Organizing your information equals automation power. If you have bad information in your CRM, you're not going to be able to automate much because information, all of this starts with information. Okay. Smart segmentation, making different segments or different categories of contacts in your CRM. A lot of people use tags for quick sorting and targeting. This is going to be super beneficial as well too, because this is what's going to help you keep your information organized. Okay. And then also revenue focus. The whole point of your CRM is to make the everyday operations lead to more revenue for you. I think a lot of people get caught up in the busy work and they don't necessarily focus on the revenue generating activities that your CRM is supposed to help you achieve. And there's this big thing called shiny object syndrome that I was guilty of at one point in time as well too. And then once I started diving into, CRMs and getting obsessed with technology and automations, I came to the conclusion that all CRMs share universal principles. It's just a matter of knowing how to put them all together to benefit your particular use case. Does that make sense?
Yes.
So at its core, all CRMs share universal principles, and then it's just a matter of how well can you put those principles together for your particular use case, right? So the DNA of your CRM, these are three core pillars, but there's more to this. But this is the big three that ties all automation together. Okay, so I'm gonna go very slowly on this. So that way, when we get to the use cases, everything makes sense. And again, this is universal. Okay, so you have custom fields. You want to think of custom fields as the what. Okay, and then tags. Everyone is familiar with tags. You want to think of tags as the who, and then opportunities or pipelines, no matter what name you want to call them, that is the where. Okay, these three pillars are what's going to help you stay organized, understand how to automate things a lot better, and all of these things is what allows people to make sure that they get the most out of their CRM. And I'll show you what custom fields are and also opportunities. Tags is really easy to understand, but we're going to show you how all of that ties in together. Okay, so starting with custom fields, because this is by far one of the most important ones. These are the specifics of your information. So custom fields are user-defined data that extend beyond your CRM default fields. So every CRM has custom fields that says name, email, and phone. They allow you to capture, store, and automate with any information specific to your business. Okay. So you want to think of CRMs like a filing cabinet. Standard fields are the pre-printed labels on every folder, name, phone, email, and then custom fields are the sticky notes that you add to capture what actually matters for your business, right? So here are some examples of some custom fields that you can add to any CRM, right? Parcel ID. The field type would be text, right? What will go in the this custom field under parcel ID is the parcel ID for the property. You can use this custom field in a message, right? And this is an SMS example. Hey, and then this is the custom field of first name, which is standard. I'm interested in your property parcel, and then you put in the custom field there. Can we discuss a cash offer? Or insert whatever template you want to use for this example, right? You see these parentheses right here. You see how it has like the small brackets in between contact dot parcel underscore ID, and then you see the brackets. Drop a one if you see the brackets. Just to make sure you guys are looking at the right thing. Let me highlight it. Perfect. This is the custom field code that pulls in that information when you send in the message. Does that make sense? Same thing with first name. So when you send this message, it's going to pull in the person's first name that you're talking to, and then it's also going to pull in the person's parcel ID because that custom field is in your CRM. Okay. This will be good to use if you're marketing in a specific area where, let's just say, the lots don't have addresses, right? Or you can, if they don't have any specific way to identify what lot is being reached out to you, if you want to remind the seller of the parcel ID number, you can put the parcel ID in a message, right? Same thing with an email example. You can use these custom fields in a message, and you can also use them in an email example. Okay. And again, parcel ID is something that you can make in any CRM. Another example, these are all, again, customizable fields that you can create. This is another example, owner to first name and last name. So we know that most owners, if they own property, they may have a co-owner. You may have two people on the deed, right? So if you wanted to address two people on a message in a sample message, you would just put in the standard custom field of the first person's name, and then owner to first name will go under this custom field. Okay. Does this make sense so far? Or do you guys need more examples of custom fields? And feel free to unmute yourself if you have any questions about how custom fields can be used. Perfect. And then all of these other examples, legal description, you can use it as a custom field. I'm gonna go into detail where it says text area. Purchase price is another custom field that you can make. And one of the things that I want to point out is you see where it says under field type, you see how it says currency, and you see how it differs from legal description, which is a text area. What do you think that that means, you guys? Anyone want to chime in on what they think that might mean
I
with the
mean,
difference in
yeah, that means it should mean the data that you put in has to kind of format with it. So if it's currency, it has to be numbers, right?
correct? That's
And then
exactly right. Go ahead, Dex. You were gonna say
no, that's
something?
no, that's it. And then the legal description, you put text in that area, so meaning like
Cor-
gotta be words.
correct. Correct. And I'll show you how all of this kind of ties in together. But essentially, every custom field has a different type that you can kind of create and customize based on the data that you want to put in that custom field. Same thing with EMD, right? The field type will be a currency field because this is where the data that you will put in has something to do with numbers, right? And again, these are more examples of how you can use these custom fields. In an example, you can use it in an SMS when you're setting up your templates, or you could use it in an email example when you're sending out emails, depending on whatever use case you have, right? So custom fields is going to be the specifics of your business, okay? And then this is how you're going to be able to, going back to Ty's earlier question, Ty, this custom fields is how you customize your initial message when you're sending it, whether you're sending out SMS blasts, emails, custom fields is how you're able to template your message and customize whatever it is that you want. Okay. So everything starts with custom fields. If this is incorrect, your messages will be incorrect, your emails will be incorrect, and then how you interact with your leads also it will look crazy. You know what I mean? I think a big mistake that I made starting off was with street address, I believe. And let's just say I'm marketing in an area where it doesn't have, an address. And then in my template, I have, hey, contact first name. I'm reaching out to you about street address. And there's no street address in that custom field. It's going to say undefined when the message gets sent. Right? Yep. She said, I know that all too well. Right. And the reason that happens is because that custom field is empty, but you have the custom field in the message that's trying to pull the information, but it's empty. Right. So something has to be in that field in order for it to populate in that message. Make sense? Anyone else ever experienced that? Ty, you're not alone, so don't feel ashamed. That happens to me all the time, which is why custom fields is super important. And that can happen with anything. If the parcel ID is left empty, if first name and last name is left empty, If the information is not in the custom field, it will say undefined when you go out to use your message templates. Ty was like, I feel seen. You're not alone, Ty. You're not alone. All right, so let's go ahead and move on to tags. Tags is how you organize the information in your CRM. This could be used in many different variations. Some people use tags as strategic labels. So you can use source tags, right? So you can use tags to identify if you got a buyer from a Facebook ad, if you got a Zillow lead, if it came in through a website form. You can use tags to label where leads are sourced from. Mm-hmm. And then behavior tags, you want to think of tags as organization tools or labels, right? Behavior tags, clicked on pricing link, attended open house, downloaded guide, right? I know Nick, he has a lot of lead magnets, right? So just as an example is if you go on Nick's website and you download one of his lead magnets, whatever lead magnet you opt in for, let's just say you get one of his free scripts on his CRM, it will show you, hey, this person got the free script course. This person got this free training. So this way, when you go into your CRM, you're able to filter out specifically for the people that exhibited certain behaviors based on your market,
And
right?
another thing I'll just say about that real quick that's like super smart is, when we're entrepreneurs, we need to know when we're putting stuff out there and when it's working. And if you really think about those notifications Francisco was just talking about, those are like little mini celebrations, right? Oh, someone signed up for my courses. Yes, right? Otherwise, if our CRM doesn't notify us, we could be getting great traction and we don't even know. So I just want to share, I love using the triggers to make me feel good. Okay. It is a really important thing. As an entrepreneur, it can be hard to feel good throughout the day sometimes. Okay. So any kind of additional boost you can give yourself is brilliant. So thank you, Francisco, for setting that up.
No problem. Another way people can use tags as well too is you can use them on status tags. People you can use them as status tags. You can tag them hotly, nurture, do not call, right? You can name whatever tags you want to use in your particular business because the purpose of tags is strategic labels, right? And I think sometimes if you're not careful, sometimes people can get carried away with tags, right? Because you want to just simply think of tags as this is what I want to use anytime I see a person that I am identifying meets this particular scenario, right? And in order to use tags effectively, you have to understand what it is that you want to identify and when you want it to be identified. Does that make sense? Ty, you about to say something?
Yes, I actually was.
Hmm.
So I would add to that with tags, it seems to me that like you have to make sure that you put it in exactly how you have it saved because I have like for me personally, when I'm like going through my text messages, let's say I put a tag saying follow up. I have like two follow-ups. One says follow up without a dash, the other one has a hyphen in it. And so now
Mm-hmm.
if I put the wrong one, it won't go into the correct workflow. And it's
Correct.
just one of those, now it's like a contact that's just kind of lost in the wind in a sense, because like
Mm-hmm.
now it's not being pulled by any workflow at all.
Correct.
So how do you correct that?
So one, what I would do is I would delete the ones that is causing either like the duplicates or causing your tags to be convoluted, because you do make a very good point. Let's use one of these for example, right? Let's just say you have a do. You see how this one right here on the status tags, you see the dashes in between the do not call. Let's
Yep.
just say, let's just say that you have this particular tag specifically with the dashes in them. And then you have another tag that says do not call without a dash.
Hmm.
And you have automations that are set up that trigger when this tag is applied. If you have the wrong tag, which is probably what you're experiencing, it's not going to trigger the automation because you're
Correct.
not using the right tag. right? So one of the things that you can do is you can go into your, and I'll show you this once we get through some of the other examples. You can go inside of your settings. You can see all of the ones that are, like duplicates or misspelled incorrectly, and then delete all of the other ones that do not trigger the automation that you want, right?
Okay.
Another workaround, and I'll show you this in a little bit, that I kind of implemented in my business, and I think I shared it with a couple of the students on here. I think is Justin on here? Yeah, Justin, a couple of like the Fantastic Few students. Another workaround that's a little bit less confusing is having a drop down, and I'll show you that in a little bit. But you can create a drop down custom field where it's just the same option every time and you don't have to spell it out. You just press the drop down and then it does the same exact thing.
Okay. Thank you.
No problem. Sweet. Another going over now, this last part is a very big underutilized section of most GHL platforms, just because most people don't, I don't know if they don't use it or they don't find the value in it, but opportunities, right? Some people call them opportunities, some people call them pipelines. It's all interchangeable. But the logic behind this is you want your opportunity board to mimic your sales process. Okay. So you can name your opportunity board. As soon as a lead comes in, everything goes under new lead, right? And then the next stage after you get a new lead is you qualify them. You can put this as underwriting. You can put this as, due diligence, reviewing. You can name your opportunity board whatever stages that you want. You can customize it however your heart desires. There's no right or wrong way. The only thing that you have to make sure of is the start of your pipeline there has to be continuity with the end of your pipeline. And your pipeline should mimic a sales process and allow you to be organized and be able to see how many leads do I have under the new lead stage? How many leads am I qualifying? How many leads are under showing? How many leads are closing? And again, you can customize all of this. Okay. This is just another way to stay organized. You can update the card view to show custom fields directly in each opportunity card, or you can create different pipelines for different businesses. So you can have a residential buyer's pipeline, you can have commercial lead pipeline, you can have a property management lead pipeline. You can use pipelines however you want to for however many different use cases. And then again, once we get into the live examples, I'll show you some of the ways that I've used pipelines, and even show you guys some of the things that I've set up for the Fantastic Few on some of the things that we're doing with some of the ventures that we have going on. And it's all the same thing. But in order to tie this all in together, you have to already have a process in place, right? There is no shortcut to creating automations without having a clear start and a clear finish. Because if you don't understand where you're starting, you can't automate what you need to finish. Okay. So I do want to make that abundantly clear, because all of this requires a little bit of thought to go into it in order for you to maximize whatever CRM that you decide to use. Okay. And again, this is just more templates, examples of how custom fields merge into templates. Of course, let me make sure I'm letting people in. Hold on. Gotta watch out for the room. This is just many other examples of how custom fields tie into, email templates and things of that nature. Again, this allows you to personalize your outreach, your follow-up, the whole 9 yards. Make sense? Any other questions before we dive into basic and advanced use cases? And then I'll show you guys some real life examples. And then if we have some time, we can also squeeze in maybe like one live build from anything you guys want on one of your guys' accounts. So that way everyone can kind of see it in real time as well too. Any questions before we dive into basic use cases? Ty said, would opportunities be how you track KPIs too? Yes, absolutely. Mm-hmm. All right, so let's go ahead and go over some basic use cases. I gave 2 basic use cases. Starting off with scenario 1, The new lead, speed to lead. Okay, speed to lead is going to be super important, especially if you're having, inbound strategies in your business. This mainly might not apply to, well, matter of fact, it would apply to inbound and outbound, but this would apply more specifically to outbound. Let's just say you're running ads to your website, or you're sending people or traffic to a specific website, and on your website there is a form. And whenever that form gets submitted, it creates a contact in your CRM, and the form that gets submitted is the trigger that sets off the automation, right? So just a basic use case, whenever a form is submitted and you have to pick the specific form, that is the trigger that sets off the actions known as the automations, right? So then once the specific form is submitted, you can add a tag, new lead. You can you can put it under the opportunity stage, qualifying, or new lead stage, whatever your heart desires. You can send an immediate SMS to the person or the contact on that form, and you can create a task for a follow within the next 5 minutes if that's what you wanted to do. Make sense? And then again, if we have time, we can actually build this live in someone's account, and then that way you can kind of see how automations kind of tie in. Another scenario, let's just say if you have more than one team member, if you're doing the business with, let's just say, a brother, a family friend, or if you have a VA, that same example, but let's just expound on it a little bit. Let's just say once the form is submitted, it automatically assigns the lead to an available rep. It could be round robin, or it could be specific to one individual. And then you can create, and these are all the action steps after the trigger. So keep that in mind. You can, once the form is submitted, it'll round robin to a rep, create the opportunity in the new lead stage, add a tag, sell a form lead, or whatever tag you want to add to the contact. And then you can populate all of the custom fields from the data, parcel ID, owners, property address. And then you can also send a notification to the person that the lead is assigned to. And you can give them all of the key details about the particular deal that has been submitted. You can create a high priority task. And then you can also send them, you can either send the seller of the contact a message, or you can send the person that the lead is assigned to a message. Use custom fields to go ahead and let them know, hey, you just got a new lead. Or if the person that put in the information on the form, you can send them a message, and this is what the sample message would say. Hey, contact first name. Thanks for submitting the information about your property on property address. And it puts in the person's name that it's assigned to. And I'll be reaching out to you shortly to discuss put in your parcel ID property. Talk soon. Make sense? So this scenario B just expounds on scenario A, but either or, you need to identify the trigger and the actions that follow and make sure that it fires off in a sequential order that makes sense, right? When you're setting up automations, you don't want to put the cart before the horse, and you want to make sure that what you're setting up actually flows, and the experience that the lead is getting makes sense, and also the experience that you as the operator also makes sense as well too. Any questions on either scenarios, or anyone want to give a scenario that they want to use in their CRM or build out in their CRM just to see how they can customize it? Any scenario you guys can think about that you would like to automate, whether it be basic? Cool. All right. We'll go ahead and go to advanced use cases, right? So let's just say in this particular scenario, at some point, we've all experienced sellers that have ghosted us, whether it's from the initial contact, whether they ghosted us after we built some, what we thought might have been amazing rapport, and we're giving them an offer, right? And once we give them an offer, we never hear back from them again. This is also a very important, use case to have, because this will fall under a follow-up, right? So going back to Ty, you know how Ty, you were mentioning that some of your tags might have been spelled incorrectly, or it might, if it's spelled incorrectly and you're applying a tag, it's not going to fire off any other automations. You can create a custom field as a status, which would be a text field known as a drop-down field. I'll show you guys this in the CRM. You can label it ghosted seller, and then the immediate actions after that would be update the opportunity pipeline to ghosted slash follow-up, or whatever you want to use to identify, hey, when this person ghosts me, or when people ghost me that I send offers out to, this is the tag that I want to use, or this is the pipeline stage that I want to use, right? And then as you can see, add the tag needs re-engagement, wait 3 days, and then this is the follow-up message that is sent to the particular lead that ghosted you. Okay. And again, this is using custom fields right here, opportunity pipeline, tag, and then a message. So the three fundamentals that we went over in the beginning, we're using them in real time to put everything together to build our automations that fit our particular use case. Okay. And this is the DNA of making sure you have very clean and concise automations that help you in your business. And in order for this type of automation to help you in your business, again, you have to find points of identification of when you're going to use these automations, when you're going to use these tags, when you're going to use these opportunity boards, and what they're going to do and what their purpose is going to serve. Okay. This is the last scenario in the advanced section, right? Let's just say you're communicating with the lead. Whenever this might apply more to people that do outbound, meaning their outreach is, they're contacting sellers via SMS or cold call. Whenever a seller mentions a price that's astronomically high or way too high above where you need them to be in order to make a deal, if a seller mentions a price that is too high, you can manually tag them too high. Okay. And then that would immediately trigger a response template that would use custom fields. So, hey, contact first name. I understand your concerns about the offer at, insert their property address. Our offer amount, insert the custom fields, is based on current market comps and property conditions. You can customize this template however your heart desires. You don't necessarily have to use this, but I want you to use the principle to put this into action and serve your own particular use case. Okay. So you will use a tag too high, create a template with the custom fields, and then you have your automation steps that come in right here, long-term nurture actions. You can automatically add a note to the contact, seller objected the price on a certain date, follow up in 45 days to reassess situation. You will put a wait step right here, and then it will send a follow-up message referencing their property, create a task to call them back. Okay. And then you can update the opportunity automatically from re-engagement to price objection or whatever you want to change them to, right? Any questions on this? Does this make sense? Or do you guys find this useful so far? As far as how to tie all of the three pillars together? Perfect. Sweet. All right, so let me go ahead and go over some real life examples real quick. Let me do this seller form right here. So as you can see, going back to custom fields, this is just a form. And as you can see, you see how we have the first name, last name, phone number, address, city, property type, property county. All of this is customizable, right? So the same fields that are in this form right here, you can find in, let me go ahead and switch over to one that we're building out for Derby's high level students. You see how the same fields that are in this form can also be found in the contact right here, property county, see the drop down, property house, auction date. Where's the auction date on here? Auction date. all of these fields will always be associated with the particular contact. And you can customize this by going to your settings, going to custom fields, and then this is where you will, you can put them in folders or you can see all of the fields. And the way you will add whatever fields that you want will be add field. And then these are the types of fields that you can put in. Okay, so single line will probably be used for just short information. Multi-line will probably be used if you wanted to do, a big bulk of information, maybe a couple paragraphs, maybe a couple notes, whatever it is that you want. And then, of course, you got values. You got fields where you can put phone numbers in. You got fields where you can put currency or numbers in, or monetary, either or. And then you have choosing options. You have the drop down, which is this right here, a single drop down, or you can have a multiple drop down where you can pick multiple. I think it's on another one where you can pick multiple options. Okay. Any questions on these custom field types right here? Sweet. All right, so let's go ahead and put this into action. So let me go ahead and just put this as a test user. Let me go ahead and put my number. And then let's do 123 Main Street. Property type, let's just do land. Opening bid, 5,000. Let's do parcel ID. Pick the auction date. Pick the county that this is in. And then extra notes. And then once you just press this button, add seller to CRM, you go ahead. If we go back to contacts and refresh, boom, it creates a contact. And then we can see all of the information associated with this lead. Make sense? And then as you can see, and I'll show you all of this automation on the back end. Once that form is generated, it tags them lead generated because that's the automation sequence in the form. And then just to guys show you what that automation looks like on the back end. This is seller tax deed automation. And then this is what it looks like on the particular form, on the particular automation. Whenever the form is submitted, it's going to assign a user. It's going to update the contact field to needs and offer. It's going to send an internal notification to whoever the assigned user is. And this is the message that the user is going to give. Hey, user first name. This is a very important distinction right here that I want to point out because user first name is different than contact first name. Okay. Whenever you're assigning leads to a user, this is going to pull in the person's name that this lead is assigned to. And then it's going to tell them under owner name who's the owner or who's the name of the lead that they've been assigned to, along with the lead's address. Make sense? And then, of course, it's going to go ahead and create an opportunity under, you got to create the pipeline, and then you have to create your opportunity stages. However you see fit, you can customize all of this. Okay. So if you wanted to update your opportunity stages, you just go to opportunities, you go to pipelines, and then you click on these three dots or the pencil icon, and then you can add a stage. You can rename whatever stages that you want, add a stage, and then write new stage for deals I need to look at. And then you can arrange them however you see fit. And then if you ever needed to delete them, you just go ahead and boom, delete them, and then you'd be good to go. But your pipeline is 100% customizable, and you can label them whatever it is that you want, however you see fit. Shani, go ahead with your question.
Sorry, completely off topic. Did you get you DM me about my phone number? Did you get it?
Yes, ma'am. I already
Uh,
have put it in. Yes, ma'am.
did you send out a message or no? Because I don't think I received anything. Not sure.
Uh, we didn't like fully test it out yet, but let me see who just got this message just now. This was Rob just got this message. But yes, once Derby starts testing it out, you'll start getting the message specifically for you.
Oh, okay, perfect. I just wanted to make sure I wasn't missing anything.
No, no, you're good.
Thank you.
No problem. And a matter of fact, hold on, let me test this out right now. So that way you guys could see it in real time. Taxi form automation. And Shani, we about to do this in real time so that way everybody can see it. So sign user. I'm gonna just take out everybody else and just put you. And then now when we go back to fill out this form, test 3.
That ain't it.
No, no, no. This is just a test.
Oh, I got you. Okay.
Yeah. Land, opening bid, 100, put in the parts ID. And then now when we go back to contacts, you should receive a text message saying,
I got it.
there, voila, there you go. And then just so everybody can see, this is the message that Shani just got, as you could see. And as you can see, again, tying in all of the principles that we've been talking about today, when something happens, the trigger of events happen. And then all this is using custom fields to formulate a message that gives Shani the important information that she needs in order to reach out to this lead and do what she needs to do in order to, execute on her lead generation. Make sense? And then as you can see, all I did was template the message and insert the custom field, contact address, contact auction date, property lead type, and user first name. Make sense? And then all Shani will have to do is just go into the opportunities, and then she could see this lead is assigned to her. You see this lead is assigned to her, and then she just goes in and does what she have to do to close the lead. And then she can drag them to the next stages, however she wants to. And again, the whole purpose of your opportunity board is to simply mimic a sales process that you memorize, understand the steps to, and you have a clear start to finish, right? So again, you can organize your pipeline however it is that you want to. And what we just did is essentially how you automate stuff to do your use case. So you can automate your follow-ups how you want to. You can automate talking to buyers how you want to, agents, whatever the case may be. As long as you memorize the core fundamentals, you could do anything in any CRM as long as you master those core 3 fundamentals. Sweet. So we're on good timing. We can go ahead and do some open Q&A, or if you guys have some, live examples of things that you kind of want to fix or address in whatever CRM that you're using, as it pertains to automations or workflows, that could also be something that we could do as well. Or we can squeeze in one live automation build that I would prefer be on one of your guys' account, no matter what CRM you're using. So that way somebody can get some value out of here.
Can you do mine?
Yeah, go ahead. What you
It's been a
got?
while since it's been a while since I've been in there. The only problem is I can't access it right now. I'm at work.
Gotcha. Okay.
Damn.
Well, yeah, you will need your computer in order for me to walk you through it.
All right.
Yeah.
Francisco,
Yes, ma'am.
Stephanie, what you were doing earlier was automation using a different platform, not Fusion.
No, yeah, I was using Flow Fusion as the example. Yeah.
That was Profusion, you said?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Okay.
No problem. Anybody else needs help with any CRM or anything related, or if you have any questions, we could do that as well too. Ty said, so if I sent a mailer and wanted to add a QR on the letter, would I be able to build this out too? Good question. Yes, in theory. So the QR code, I think you can put a QR code, and then as long as you build the website or whatever the QR code is routing the person to inside of your CRM, yes, you can build that out. So to Ty's example, whenever you do the QR code, you know how like you set it up and then you could set it up to send them to a link because normally that's how QR codes work. You do your thing and then or you scan it and then it sends you to a website. So Ty, as long as when people scan that QR code, it sends them to a website that's or a landing page that's built in your CRM and they fill it out, yes, you could do that. Yep. And that's a very great question. So shout out to you, Ty. So that's another use case that you can do as well too. And Ty, just to expand on that real quick, you'll set up the QR code, you'll send the mailer. If people scan your QR code and then they fill out the form on the landing page, your automation sequence would be when a form is submitted on the landing page, it sends them into your pipeline in your CRM. It sends you an email or an SMS notification and then it sends the person that filled out the form an initial text message automatically. So you can build that out as well too. Just get a QR code, link the landing page that's in your CRM, and then whenever they fill out the form, you'll be good money. Cynthia, go ahead. Oh, I think she dropped off by accident. I'm not sure. Sweet. Anybody else? Anybody else got any questions or anything that they need help understanding
I
through their
mean,
CRM?
sorry, it's me. It's Cynthia.
Okay.
Sorry.
What's up?
I'm using my phone, that's why I got a little confused. I have a question. So I have a new list that I'm going to upload into Flow Fusion. However,
Mm-hmm.
I haven't done anything in the last few months, and I'm trying to jump back in. However, I have like 4,000 contacts or messages that I have to respond to. Is
Mm-hmm.
it, would you say that I need to get to those contacts before I upload a new list, or do I just go ahead and upload a new list and still work throughout the contacts?
I would definitely work through the old contacts first because there might be some deals in there that you can possibly do or get just by simply following up with the old list as well too. And then
Okay,
with the old list, what I would probably are you in front of your computer right now?
I can be. I'm like, yeah, I can pull it up right now.
Gotcha. But what I was gonna say was I would definitely clean out the old responses as well too. Um, So then that way you're not like filtering or trying to sort through like old responses and new responses because then it's just going to pile up. If you say you have a couple, if it's in the thousands,
Yeah,
it's going to pile up even some more.
I
Um,
know. I'm worried about that. So I just, I'm like, I don't know if I should move forward with this list or even pull up new lists for different areas when I have them, gazillion people in the chat because I stopped working in it, and so then everything kind of backed up, and so now I'm
mhm.
like, I need to play catch up. Do I just, or I asked Brian, do I just delete that whole thing and re-upload it again and just start it over, or what do I do? He was like,
Yeah,
well, you should ask Francisco.
that's always the default answer. Um, but now, yeah, I would definitely start. I would backtrack first, just for the simple fact of one, and also think about this from like a business owner perspective, right?
Yeah.
If you can, you didn't spend money on a new list yet, right?
No, no. I mean, I spend money on several lists at the same time, and I only
Mm-hmm.
uploaded one, so I can keep up with one at a time because it's just so many people. Um,
Gotcha.
yeah, I actually I have, it says 535 results, but I have I have a list in there for 5,000 people, but the results that I have in my chat right now are 535.
Got you. Okay. So it may seem like a lot, but if you think about it, let's just say you're sorting through all of your old messages and you find a deal that's, might be worth 2 grand, 5 grand, even 10 grand on the high end. You know what I mean? I think that's well worth it because then that will give you kind of like the practical application of sorting out through your list. It's not even about the new list being imported because we talked about this a couple weeks ago when we did a hot seat session. So this just not a you thing. So let me be clear, right? But what we were explaining a couple weeks ago was the habit of sending messages, letting them get piled up, has to be addressed more than sending out the messages themselves.
Okay.
Because like for example, the habit of responding to the messages that you send needs to be implemented first before you go out and continue sending out messages to new people when you haven't responded to the old people. So without that habit being instilled first, then you might send out a new list of messages and then the same habit might repeat itself where you're doing the action of sending out the messages, but the revenue generating activity of responding to the messages has to be instilled first in order for you to see the progress. So going back and, like going in and just following up, even if they responded 2 months ago, 3 months ago, just write the message as a follow up and tag them properly. You know what I mean? And then
Okay.
once you go through that mechanics, especially after you do it like 100, 200, even if you get through the whole 500, now the habit of responding to messages you should be instilled. And then now when you go out to send a new list, it's like
Automatic.
it's like clockwork. Because one of the things that people kind of don't account for is the opportunity cost of not responding to messages, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
And when you look at opportunity costs, let's just say one of those 500 people could have been a $10,000 opportunity 2, 3 months ago. You didn't monetarily you lose 10 grand, but you lost an opportunity to make 10 grand.
Right.
You
Okay.
know, so when anybody is sending out these messages, you definitely want to make sure that you have kind of like a solid routine because, and again, Cynthia, this is not just a you thing. We've all struggled with this in at some form or fashion, but it's almost kind of like you want to have a routine to go with the process, and then your automation supports your routine and your process.
Yeah, I figured that because I started watching the hot seat and I'm like, oh my God, I need to go into my CRM. And I'm like, oh shit, there's so much
Exactly.
in here. And it's almost overwhelming. Like, how am I going to get through these? And then that's why I'm like, okay, I need to start tagging everyone, as
Mm-hmm.
I'm going through these so that I can get the ones that are like sold out of the way, that tell me to F off out of the way and X, Y, and Z, and just kind of leave behind the ones that are more ideal messages.
Correct. And then you know what? This is the last analogy that I'll use, but I've said this analogy many multiple times, right? And think about it. Think about how many people have your personal phone number, right?
Right.
Over however many years you've had your personal phone number, right? I've had this number that I have now for probably like 7 years. So it's fair to say that over the course of 7 years, I've accumulated a lot of contacts, networking, exchanging, whatever. If everyone that had your number in your phone right now texted you right now, would you be able to get back to everyone?
Absolutely not. No.
I'll be the first. I'm gonna put myself out there. Sometimes I suck at texting people back because it's only so many time. It's only so much time in a day. Other obligate. I may see a text message and tell myself, okay, I'm gonna respond a little bit later. 2 minutes go by, I completely forgot.
Yeah.
So now imagine doing that with complete strangers on 1,000, 5,000 strangers at one time. And then you may have 500 strangers responding back a variety of different messages, right? So
Right.
it's naturally overwhelming if you don't set up a right routine and a right process to go along with that. So, people get infatuated with sending out 20,000 messages, 50,000 messages. It all sounds good in theory. So you got to respond to 2,000 messages and you got to filter them out. right? So you kind of want to make sure your routine supports the systems that you have in place. Um,
Yes.
and then
I
once
have
you
a
kind of
question.
get into a groove, that'd be
Sorry.
good. Radhika, what's up? Nice to hear
Yes,
your
my
voice again.
apologies.
No, you
Yes,
good.
so two things. Cynthia, do not feel bad. I'm gonna be honest. I was in the hot seat a couple of months ago, and let me tell you exactly what you just said. I literally, as of yesterday, just finished cleaning out my inbox. So when I started, I had it for a while, so shame on me. But if you're not in it and you don't really know what you're doing, I didn't even know I had all these messages. It took me so long. I'm doing this with my full time job. Literally, as of yesterday, I would spend time every day. And I was like, I'm like, oh my gosh, I have all these contacts. What do I do? I don't think it makes sense to delete them because certain people already message you. So you might be like, it's basically we have to clean up the mess that we created because to delete
Right.
them is like you're re entering the same contacts that they already responded, and there's people that responded to me that I didn't even respond to. So it took me so long because as I'm doing them, I'm following up to like looking on Zillow to see if it's been sold. And if it's been sold, now I'm researching to find the builder. So I've kind of been doing like a double process that took a very long time. But like Francisco said, it's now getting me into the habit of like now I know what to do. There's no messages that's slipping in my inbox that's going unchecked. Absolutely not. I would never put myself in that position again. That was so painful, but it was a mess that I made. So I trust me, I feel your pain
Yeah.
because that was very, very painful. But I have a lot of leads and I still have leads that are following up. And certain people message me, their property is still not sold. So there's
Right.
still like a lot of leads to follow up with. So I've been having my campaigns pause. I haven't been sending out absolutely nothing until I got this mess cleaned up, which we're finally in the green. So
Hmm.
a little encouragement. It's going to take some time, but it's well worth. And it also just, trains our brain to get into that process of doing it. And I just feel more and more comfortable doing it after I went through hundreds and hundreds of messages, tagging them.
Right.
That
Hmm.
was just painful. And
Absolutely.
my question, Francisco, so, I was thinking like when because I have like, I've been using the two high tags too, and I know I need to set up a couple of like, make sure my automations are all linked to things. But if you have two tags, like let's say you have like the follow-up, right? And I already have my workflow set up for follow-ups. I have my automations and send it out after X many days. How does it work if you have like you have them on follow up, but they're also too high? You don't necessarily need to do both if they have. I mean, you still want to follow up with them, but they are too high. So does it make sense to just put them under the too high and just use that workflow versus a too high and a follow up? That makes sense.
No, no. So yeah, I understand your question. So basically, the way you want to think about it is you can have a specific workflow dedicated to people that are too high, right? Where it would still count as a follow up, but a different form of follow up. And the
Oh,
reason it will
okay.
count as a different form of follow up is that follow up message that you will send someone that falls under the bucket of too high, that templated message needs to be worded as you are
Hmm.
picking up on a conversation that ended off with you acknowledging, hey, this price is too high. So when I circle back, so let me give you an example. If you reach out to Cynthia and Cynthia says she wants $2 million for a lot in Palm Bay, right? And then you say, hey, that price is too high. I'll follow up with you at a later time. You will tag her too high, and then your automation would say in 45 days, when someone is tagged too high, then templated message will say, hey, Cynthia, just circling back on our conversation we had a couple of months ago when you had a little bit of a higher price that I was willing to pay. Would you be open to entertaining, a number that will work for both of us this time around?
Okay, that makes
That
sense.
would
Got it. So,
that would
okay.
that would be a different follow up than just your generic follow up where someone says, "Hey, I'm not interested in selling right now." that would, so that too high would just fall under a different form of follow-up that you can
Got you.
customize however you want, you see fit. Because the whole point of, I guess, customizing the automation with the follow-up is you want to make sure like there's continuity. Like your follow-up needs to be kind of a continuation of a previous conversation. You know what I mean? Um, and so hopefully that helps.
Yes, that's perfect. I thought so. I just kind of wanted to double check. And my other question was, this could probably be a preference thing. So I'm just kind of curious. So like I have you know how like in Flow Fusion you have like your all messages. So I still have like messages that are there. I don't delete all of them if I've been having a conversation. It's just my preference because I like to look to see what we've been talking about. Like that's just always
Mhm.
helpful for me. But my unread box is clear. There's no. So like do you or do people like typically delete those old messages, or is that just like a preference thing? Like the conversation if they're like if obviously if it's like a DNC or something like that, like
Mhm.
certain messages I just delete those because there's no need for them. But like
Mhm.
certain still follow-ups, you still have those messages like in your CRM, not as
Yes.
unread, but just as there.
Yeah. So it's 100% a preference thing. Now I'm gonna give you my opinion on it. I'm not saying this is right or wrong or shaming anyone that does delete, other contacts. It only makes sense, and again, this is 100% a preference thing. Let's just say someone's backed up on their messages and they want to click the reset button, and they say like, "Man, listen, I'm not gonna go through X amount of messages. Let me just delete it." Them deleting all of the contacts that they haven't responded to also clears their inbox because once you delete contacts, everything associated with that contact gets deleted, right?
Oh, okay.
You get what I'm saying? So it's a
Mhm.
preference thing. The reason I say it's a preference thing is because, again, going back to opportunity costs, if someone wants to take like the reset button as a shortcut and be like, I'm gonna just delete everything, how you know you're not deleting a lead that actually still wants to sell that no one actually ended up following up with?
Uh-huh. Okay. Now that makes sense.
You
Okay.
get what I'm saying? So, maybe the only other alternative that might make sense is, and again, on another call, we can kind of dive in a little bit deeper on like some more advanced stuff. But going back to tags, right? Let's just say you've labeled over the course of time, you've developed a habit of tagging people too high, or you developed a habit of tagging people DNC or whatever the case may be. Let's use too high as an example, right? Because that was just a reset. If you accumulated a list of 100 people that are too high, you've already followed up with all 100 of them, and all of them are still like too high. Okay, it makes sense to probably delete them and move on, or just tag them DNC so you never contact them again. Make sense?
Hmm.
But yeah, I mean, I think it's just a preference thing. I mean, there's some students that be like, listen, they're just straight up, I'm gonna just delete, I'm gonna just start over. I'm like, okay, do you? You know what I mean? But
That makes sense. Okay.
from an organization perspective, think considering opportunity costs, you could just be deleting someone that might have given you a 10, 20K deal. You just didn't follow up with them in time. And then the last thing on this particular topic, I've been on live calls helping students. And I'm like showing them my screen and then going back over to their screen. When I show them my screen and that's show them the contact card, they'll be like, hey, I was talking to that seller. Did you get back to him? Because
That's so true.
weird, and that can happen to anybody. That could happen to
I've
me. That could
seen
happen to
that.
Derby. Like, you know what I mean? So just kind of like think about the opportunity cost of,
Mm.
because I didn't get back to this particular person, someone else followed up with them and made the 5K that I was supposed to make, or made the 10K that I was supposed to make. But I was just kicking my feet up and chilling and waiting to.
Well,
So just think about it like that, because that's happened. I've been on both sides of that spectrum. So.
I saw that a lot too. When like people that literally messaged me back, I never messaged them, and I looked at it, sold. I was like, it's painful, but you're not gonna get me again.
Mm-hmm.
But thank you. I appreciate
No
that. This
problem.
is very
No,
helpful.
no problem. Al, and then we can go to Dex, and then we can wrap up.
Hey, I was just letting you know that I received a text from Rob. Was I supposed
Perfect.
to receive a text?
A text from Rob.
No, I received your sample text saying, "Hey,
Uh,
Rob, you've been
oh,
assigned a
okay.
new lead."
Okay, so I might have put your wrong number under the wrong profile. So sorry about that.
Okay.
Yeah, I probably put your number under Rob's profile by accident.
Okay. You just switch them around.
Yes, sir.
All right. Thanks,
Uh,
sir.
no problem. Dex.
What's up, Francisco?
Yes, sir.
Hey, so my question is, did you already go over the drop down menu? I think you talked about that earlier on. And yeah, because I was in your CRM class and I think that stood out in one of the videos. I was going to ask you about it, but I
Mm-hmm.
never got around. So,
Oh yeah, absolutely. So let me show you. So there's many different drop downs you can do. Let me go to custom fields because this is where you're gonna have to do it. All right, you see where I'm at in folders?
yes, I see.
All right. So let me do buyers buy box. We got one for buyers buy box. And then you see, let me see where it's at, where it's at, where it's at. Okay, you see right here where it says buyers market. This is what I named the custom field, right? And then you see right here where it says multiple options. This means, and I'm gonna show you this in real time. This means I can pick multiple options in this particular field, and then this is the code to put it in there. If I wanted to use it in like a text message or an email, and let me show you. You see right here, this is a drop down buyer's market.
Yes.
I can pick any one of these that I want, or I can pick multiple of these. And then you see the difference between this drop down is I can only pick one at a time. Okay. And the reason there's many different use cases you can use for this. I'm going to show you this on the buyer side, and then I'm going to show you it on the seller side, where let's just say you can use this as a form. I mean, this is actual form that we're using in the Fantastic Few group, but let me give you another brief use case, right? Let's just say you're at a networking event. You want to link this landing page. Ty, this also applies to you, so pay attention. Let's just say you're at a networking event. You want to use a QR code, right? And then you meet a buyer at a networking event. You be like, hey, use this QR code, and then it's going to take you to this page. Just fill out your information, and then I'll start hunting for criteria for you, right? They'll fill out their information, their name, their full name, their phone number, email address. If they press actively buying and they pick one of these counties, immediately you could send them a message after they submit this form and say, hey, Bob the Builder, thank you for submitting my buyer form. I'm going to start looking for deals for you in insert buyer markets into the SMS email, insert buyer markets into the email template that you're going to send them. Make sense?
Yeah, absolutely. So you primarily use it for like web forms, and that the drop down menu will be primarily for that particular scenario, not like more so like in your CRM, like when you're responding back or going through like your leads or anything like that.
Mm-hmm. Now I showed you for buyers. Now I'm about to show you the one for sellers. So the same thing with sellers. Let me show you what it looks like. You just go to custom fields, you go to folders, you see where it says update on seller, single option. So that means you can only press one. Okay. So then if you go back and you go to, let's just use this as an example, you see how I'm in the CRM and then I'm pressing underwriting. It goes from needs offer. I'm manually pressing it to needs underwriting.
Yes, that's exactly
And
what I was
then
talking about. Yeah.
correct. So then now it's going to probably take a little minute or whatever the case may be, but then it'll automatically move it. There's action triggers that happen anytime you use one of these dispositions if you want. So if you want to follow up in 30 days, you just press follow up in 30 days and then boom, it's going to follow up in 30 days. If you send over an offer and you make it verbal, boom, it's going to update. And if we press this, it should update automatically. And then as you can see, you see how it's moved. It moved from offer made to underwriting. and move to underwriting to needs offer, and move to underwriting to offer made. And then if we do, let's just say if it accepts the offer, and then we refresh. Right now it's in underwriting. It was moved to offer made. If we refresh, it should move to under contract. Boom. And move from offer made to under contract. And that's just by simply creating the custom field as a single dropdown. And then you create automations that when I press this button, it moves to this pipeline. Now, it does take a little bit of work to set up, but the only way this works is if you understand a clear start and a clear finish, and then the small in betweens. Because let's just say if we put offer rejected, right? And we refresh our screen right now, it's under, or it did it in real time. Oh, no, it didn't. We got to refresh. Look, now it's under offer rejected, follow up active. Make sense? So all this is just a drop down with predefined, fields or options tied to your other example. This is another alternative to avoid misspelling tags if you want, right? So instead of thinking about like, what's the tag that I use when I'm in this situation? You could just go to custom settings, go to custom fields, go to add field, single drop down. Ty, you still on here? I think this was you.
Yes.
Okay, boom. You could do follow up tags. Boom. Follow up. Boom. Add another option. Follow up whenever I get ready. Follow up when Jesus come back.
So, question with that though, with the tags, because I guess the way I've been tagging it is under the conversations tab, like off to the right of the conversation, like the text message. Would that be the proper way to add tags, or just do it this way with
You
the
can
drop down?
you can do it with a drop down as well too.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. This is just to your point, Ty. This is just you setting predefined custom fields, so that way you no longer have to tab. Real quick, you also want to make sure that you put this in a folder where custom fields. You see how I have all of these drop down? These are just folders that contain custom fields. So you see where it says buyer buy box? All of the custom fields in the buyer box folder contains fields associated with buyer information. Make
Got
sense?
it. Got it. Yep.
Purchase agreement with seller contains all of the custom fields I need in order to fill a purchase agreement with the seller. So if you wanted to put this follow-up tag under the update seller folder, you would just name the follow-ups that you want, press save. And I just did this in real time. So if we go back to update on seller, you see how I have follow-up tags here now? And then boom.
Nice. Okay. Perfect.
And then now you no longer have to type it. You just press the button, and then you set up the automations to say, when I use the custom field follow-up, do this. When I use a custom field follow-up whenever I get ready, do this, and et cetera, et cetera. I was being funny when Jesus come back and then when the Browns win the Super Bowl, but you get the point. You can name it whatever you want. You can name it whatever you want, and then set automations to trigger sequence of events whenever you do this. Make sense?
Yes, it does. Thank you.
Perfect.
I got a
Awesome.
question for you. You know the smart list, right? Okay. So, for like, let's say, for example, Palm Bay, right? I'll pull a list for white lots versus blue lots, right? But sometimes, I guess in my blue lots list, I'll find a white lot, There's no, other than changing the tags, there's no way to like really move that contact from the blue list to the white lot list, right? Because that's something that like, yeah, that's something an annoyance I've been dealing with.
Yep. So there's a couple ways that you can do that. You could do it in bulk, or you could do it one at a time.
Mm-hmm.
So let's use this test as an example, right? I'm gonna just make up. You said blue, and you want to change it to white.
Well, that's the tags, right?
Mm-hmm.
But the actual list. So like, let's say I want to the list, but I don't want that white lot. Like say I want to rerun the blue lot list, but I don't want that white lot to be hit up.
Oh, okay. So then
Yeah.
what you would do is, you will, let me still do it. You want the blue lot to be hit up, but not the white lot, right?
Yeah. Like let's say, it's like 1,000 contacts, and maybe like there's 10 white lots in there. So if I was
Yep.
to rerun that list like a few months later, I wouldn't want those white lots to be hit up if I'm looking for blue lots.
Yep. So what you would do is you would go to advanced filters.
Uh-huh.
You will go to tags. Oh, wait, hold on. Sorry. Tag. And
Okay.
then you would do is blue lot.
And just do it
And
like
then
that and create a new one. Got you.
correct.
I
And
know what direction you're heading in. Okay. I got you.
yep. And then
Okay.
now you're only filtering out for blue lots, and it's gonna eliminate all white lots.
And then I could probably delete the list that was, I guess, impure. Is the best way I can put
Correct.
it. I can delete the
Mm-hmm.
old list that was impure and then recreate a more pure blue list.
Correct.
Gotcha. Okay. I get what you're saying. Okay. Thank you.
No problem. Sweet. Alrighty, guys. So I definitely enjoyed this session. Hopefully, you guys found a lot of value in it. Let me know. You guys can DM me directly if you guys have more, like use cases that you want more training on. I know in the next coming weeks, I am going to have some test subjects that have already decided that they'll be willing participants to allow me to show you guys some of the automations that I've built for them. Especially if you guys are using dialers and you want to kind of know more about, how to get leads into your CRM outside of importing the leads and things of that nature. If you think of anything that you can, that you want to see or want, help building in your CRM, just send me a message. And then we'll start incorporating that into kind of our lessons and, build on top of that. But as long as you understand the fundamentals, there's nothing that you cannot automate. And of course, you can always build on top of that. Okay. Sweet. Eugene, let me go ahead and give you the link so that way you can go ahead and get the recording of this. Eugene, can you DM me your email so that way I can send you the link? Let me see if I can find it real quick. Oh, here we go. Never mind. Found it. Hallelujah. Oh, there you go, Eugene. I just sent the link over in the chat as well in the Zoom chat, just in case if anyone wants to get the recordings of these calls. Just fill out that form, and then it will give you access to the recordings, okay? And the replays. Replays, recording, same thing. Okay, sorry. All right, guys. Let me look at the calendar real quick. I think next week I'm probably going to be out because we're going to a conference. So we will be back February 24th. Next week I'll be out at a conference. So just remember, you'll get an email about it. But on the 24th, we'll resume. Next week I will be out at a conference, okay? Juan said, I asked the week before last about market selection. Last week, was that discussed? Do you have yes, Juan. We did that call last week. And then if you fill out this form right here, you'll be able to access the community where the replays are hosted at, okay? Sweet. All right, guys. Have a good rest of your week. Thank you guys so much for coming. And remember, we'll be back on the 24th, okay? Have a good weekend. Thank you, guys.